Hello, amazing English learners. Welcome back to English Flow, the channel that unlocks the secrets to mastering English in fun, practical, and exciting ways. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we're diving into something that might just blow your mind. Did you know that one simple activity can skyrocket your vocabulary by thousands of words, improve your grammar naturally, help you think in English, and even make you a confident speaker? Any guesses what this magical activity is? It's reading. Now hold on. Before you say, "Ugh, reading sounds boring," let me stop you right there. Reading doesn't mean slogging through dense textbooks or wrestling with Shakespeare. Nope. Today, I'm going to show you how reading can become your best friend on your English learning journey. We'll uncover why reading is like a secret weapon that top English speakers swear by, and I'll share practical, fun tips to make reading enjoyable and super effective for you. So, tell me, when was the last time you read a book that gripped you? Maybe a story, a comic, or even a blog. Oh, and here's another quick question to spark your curiosity. What's one topic you'd love to read about in English? Could be adventure, romance, or even tech. Let's make reading your thing. All right, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into the wonderful world of reading in English. Let's do this. Let's start with a simple question. Why is reading so powerful for learning English? Think about this. When you read, your brain is like a detective. It's constantly working, making connections, and learning patterns. Unlike watching TV or listening to music, reading forces you to actively engage with the language. You can't just sit back and let the words wash over you. You have to understand, process, and connect ideas. Here's what happens in your brain when you read in English. First, you see new words in context. This is incredibly important because context is like a teacher that never gets tired. When you see the word exhausted in a sentence like, "After running the marathon, Maria felt completely exhausted," you immediately understand it means very tired. You don't need a dictionary. The context teaches you. Second, reading shows you how grammar works naturally. Instead of memorizing rules like use present perfect for experiences, you see hundreds of examples. I have visited Paris. She has never eaten sushi. We have lived here for 5 years. Your brain starts to recognize these patterns automatically. Third, reading improves your thinking speed in English. When you read regularly, you stop translating every word in your head. Instead, you start thinking directly in English. This is what we call English thinking, and it's the key to becoming fluent. But here's the most exciting part. Reading is like a time machine. Through books, articles, and stories, you can experience different worlds, meet interesting people, and learn about cultures from around the globe. You're not just learning English. You're expanding your mind and your understanding of the world. Now, let's look at what research tells us about reading and language learning. Scientists have studied thousands of English learners, and the results are amazing. Studies show that people who read regularly in English improve their language skills 5 times faster than those who only attend classes or use apps. Why? Because reading gives you massive exposure to the language. In just 1 hour of reading, you might encounter 300 to 500 new words and dozens of grammar patterns. That's more language input than you get in a week of traditional studying. Dr. Stephen Krashen, a famous language learning researcher, discovered something called comprehensible input. This means you learn best when you understand most of what you're reading, but encounter some new elements that challenge you slightly. It's like going to a gym. You need weights that are heavy enough to make you stronger, but not so heavy that you can't lift them. Reading also activates something called incidental learning. This is learning that happens without you trying. When you're enjoying a good story, you're not thinking, "Oh, I must remember this grammar rule." Instead, your brain naturally absorbs new words, phrases, and structures because they're part of an interesting context. Another fascinating discovery is that reading fiction, stories, novels, and short stories actually makes you better at understanding people's emotions and social situations. This is called emotional intelligence, and it helps you communicate more effectively in real-life situations. Brain scans show that when people read in their second language, the same areas of the brain light up as native speakers. This means reading literally rewires your brain to process English more naturally. Let's talk about vocabulary. One of the biggest challenges for English learners. Many students try to memorize word lists or use flashcards, but reading offers a much more powerful approach. When you encounter a new word while reading, it comes with 3 important gifts. First, you see it in context, so you understand not just what it means, but how it's used. Second, you often meet the same word multiple times in the same text, which helps you remember it. Third, you connect the word to emotions and images from the story, making it unforgettable. For example, imagine you're reading a mystery story and you encounter the word suspicious. The first time, you might read, "The man's behavior was suspicious. He kept looking over his shoulder." You understand it means something strange or questionable. Later in the story, she gave him a suspicious look. Now you see it can describe both behavior and expressions. By the end of the story, you've seen suspicious 5 or 6 times in different contexts. It's now part of your active vocabulary. Research shows that you need to encounter a new word 7 to 12 times before you truly know it. Reading naturally provides this repetition. Popular words appear frequently, while rare words appear less often, exactly matching what you need for natural learning. But here's a secret many teachers don't tell you. You don't need to understand every word to benefit from reading. If you understand 70 to 80% of what you're reading, you're in the perfect learning zone. Your brain will gradually pick up the remaining 20 to 30% through context and repetition. Advanced readers often know 2 to 3 times more vocabulary than students who only learn from textbooks. This vocabulary knowledge isn't just passive. It actively improves their speaking and writing abilities. Now let's discuss everyone's favorite topic, grammar. Just kidding. I know many of you find grammar challenging, but reading can make grammar learning almost effortless. When you learn grammar through reading, you're seeing it in action, not just memorizing rules. Your brain is incredibly good at recognizing patterns, and reading gives it thousands of examples to work with. Take the present perfect tense, for example. Instead of memorizing has, have plus past participle, you encounter it naturally. I have always wanted to visit Japan. She has just finished her homework. They have never seen snow. After reading hundreds of these examples, your brain internalized the pattern without conscious effort. Reading also teaches you something textbooks can't: the rhythm and flow of English. You learn how sentences connect, how ideas link together, and how to vary your sentence structure. This is what makes the difference between awkward, textbook English and natural, fluent communication. Different types of texts teach different grammar patterns. News articles use formal structures and passive voice. Novels show you how to use narrative tenses and reported speech. Blogs and informal writing demonstrate conversational grammar and modern expressions. One of the biggest advantages of learning grammar through reading is that you learn it in context. You don't just know that we use although to show contrast. You've seen it used in dozens of real situations, so you know exactly when and how to use it yourself. Many advanced English speakers say they rarely think about grammar rules when they speak or write. Instead, they rely on their language instinct, the natural feeling for what sounds right. This instinct develops primarily through extensive reading. Now comes the practical question. What should you read? The answer might surprise you. anything that interests you and matches your level. Let's start with level. If you're a beginner, A1 to A2, start with children's books, simple news articles, or graded readers. These are books specially written for English learners with controlled vocabulary and grammar. Don't feel embarrassed about reading children's books. Remember, you're building your English foundation. For intermediate learners, B1 to B2, the world opens up dramatically. You can try young adult novels, magazine articles, blogs, and news websites. The key is finding the sweet spot, material that challenges you without overwhelming you. Advanced learners, C1 to C2, can tackle almost anything, but should still choose strategically. Classic literature, academic articles, specialized magazines, and contemporary fiction all offer different learning benefits. Here's my golden rule. Choose content you would enjoy in your native language. If you love cooking, read English cooking blogs and recipe websites. If you're interested in technology, follow English tech news. If you enjoy romance stories, find English romance novels. Your genuine interest will carry you through difficult passages and keep you motivated. Variety is also important. Don't just read one type of material. Mix fiction and nonfiction, formal and informal texts, long and short pieces. Each type of text teaches different aspects of English. For beginners, I recommend starting with 15 to 20 minutes daily. Intermediate learners should aim for 30 to 45 minutes. Advanced learners can read for an hour or more. But remember, consistency is more important than duration. Reading 20 minutes every day is much better than reading for 3 hours once a week. Having the right strategies can transform your reading experience from frustrating to enjoyable. Let me share the most effective techniques I've learned from working with thousands of English learners. First, the don't stop strategy. When you encounter unknown words, don't immediately reach for your dictionary. Try to understand the general meaning from context first. Stop only if a word appears multiple times, or if not understanding it prevents you from following the story. Second, use the 3-pass method. Read each text 3 times with different purposes. First pass. Get the general idea. Don't worry about details. Second pass. Focus on understanding the main points and new vocabulary. Third pass. Notice grammar patterns and subtle meanings. Third, practice active reading. This means engaging with the text, not just consuming it passively. Ask yourself questions. What will happen next? Why did the character do that? Do I agree with this opinion? This keeps your brain actively processing the language. Fourth, try reading aloud occasionally. This connects reading with speaking and helps you practice pronunciation and rhythm. It also slows you down, allowing you to notice details you might miss when reading silently. Fifth, keep a reading journal. Write brief summaries of what you read, note interesting phrases, or record your opinions. This transforms passive reading into active language practice. The prediction strategy is also powerful. Before reading, look at the title, pictures, and first paragraph. Predict what the text will be about. This activates your background knowledge and makes comprehension easier. For difficult texts, try the sandwich method. Read a summary or review first, then read the original text, then read another review or analysis. This gives you multiple perspectives and reinforces your understanding. Knowledge without action is useless, so let's talk about building a sustainable reading habit. Many learners start enthusiastically but give up after a few weeks. Here's how to make reading a permanent part of your English learning journey. Start small and be consistent. It's better to read for 10 minutes every day than for 2 hours once a week. Your brain learns through regular exposure, not through intensive cramming sessions. Create a reading routine. Link reading to something you already do regularly. Read during your morning coffee, during lunch break, or before bed. When reading becomes part of your existing routine, it requires less willpower to maintain. Set up your environment for success. Have books or reading apps easily accessible. Remove barriers. If you need to search for something to read every time, you're less likely to do it. Prepare your reading materials in advance. Use the 2-book strategy. Always have an easier book and a more challenging one available. When you're tired or stressed, read the easier one. When you're energetic and focused, tackle the challenging one. This ensures you always have appropriate material for your current state. Track your progress visually. Keep a reading log or use apps that show your daily reading time. Seeing your consistency builds motivation and creates positive momentum. Find a reading community. Join online forums, social media groups, or local clubs where people discuss English books. Sharing your reading experience with others makes it more enjoyable and holds you accountable. Reward yourself for consistency. After reading for a week straight, treat yourself to something special. After a month, celebrate with a bigger reward. This creates positive associations with reading. Don't be perfectionist. Some days you might only read for 5 minutes. Or you might not understand everything. That's completely normal and okay. Progress isn't always linear, but consistency always pays off. In today's digital world, we need to address an important question. Should you read physical books or digital texts? Both have advantages for English learners. Physical books offer a traditional, distraction-free experience. There's no temptation to check social media or respond to messages. The tactile experience of turning pages can help with memory formation. You can easily flip back to previous pages to review vocabulary or plot points. However, digital reading has some amazing advantages for language learners. E-readers and apps often have built-in dictionaries. You can tap on unknown words for instant definitions. You can adjust font size and brightness for comfortable reading. Many apps track your reading speed and vocabulary growth. Audiobooks deserve special mention. Listening while reading, called dual mode reading, is incredibly powerful for English learners. You hear pronunciation while seeing spelling, improving both listening and reading skills simultaneously. This method is especially helpful for learning rhythm, stress, and intonation patterns. Some apps offer whisper sync technology, allowing you to switch seamlessly between reading and listening versions of the same book. You might read during your commute and listen while exercising, maintaining continuity in your story. For vocabulary building, digital tools have clear advantages. Apps can create automatic flashcards from words you look up, schedule reviews based on memory science, and track which words you've mastered. My recommendation: use whatever format keeps you reading consistently. If you love the feel of physical books, stick with them. If you find digital tools helpful, embrace technology. Many successful readers use a combination of both formats. Different types of reading can target specific English skills. Let's explore how to use reading strategically to improve different aspects of your English. For vocabulary building, fiction works wonderfully. Novels expose you to descriptive language, emotions, and everyday conversations. They repeat key vocabulary naturally and show words in various contexts. Mystery and adventure stories are particularly good because they use active, engaging language. For formal writing skills, read newspapers, academic articles, and business reports. These texts demonstrate formal structures, professional vocabulary, and objective writing styles. Pay attention to how arguments are presented and supported. For conversational skills, read blogs, social media posts, and informal articles. These show modern, casual English including idioms, slang, and contemporary expressions. Young adult novels also excel at depicting natural dialogue. For cultural understanding, read diverse authors from different English-speaking countries. This exposes you to various cultural perspectives and regional language differences. Travel blogs and cultural magazines are also excellent for this purpose. For specialized vocabulary, read materials in your field of interest or profession. If you're studying business, read business magazines. If you're interested in science, follow science blogs. This builds the specific vocabulary you'll actually use. For grammar improvement, pay attention to sentence structures as you read. Notice how writers vary their sentence length and complexity. Classic literature often demonstrates sophisticated grammar patterns, while contemporary fiction shows modern usage. For pronunciation improvement, read poetry and song lyrics. These materials emphasize rhythm, stress, and sound patterns. Reading them aloud helps you practice the musical aspects of English. Let's address the obstacles that prevent many learners from developing a reading habit. Every challenge has a solution, and I want to help you overcome them. Reading is too slow and frustrating. This is the most common complaint. Solution: choose easier materials and focus on understanding the main ideas, not every detail. Speed comes with practice. Don't force it. I forget new words immediately. This is normal. Solution: don't try to remember everything. Focus on words that appear frequently or seem particularly useful. Keep a small vocabulary notebook for words you want to remember. I can't find interesting books at my level. Solution: use graded readers, young adult novels, or children's books without shame. Ask librarians or teachers for recommendations. Online communities often share book suggestions for different levels. I don't have time to read. Solution: use micro-reading sessions. Read during waiting times, commutes, or breaks. Even 5 minutes counts. Audiobooks let you read while exercising or doing chores. Reading doesn't help my speaking. This is a misconception. Solution: read dialogues aloud, summarize what you read in English, or discuss books with other learners. Reading provides the language input that makes speaking possible. Technical or academic texts are too difficult. Solution: start with summaries or simplified versions. Use background knowledge to predict content. Don't aim for 100% comprehension initially. I feel guilty reading easy books. Solution: remember that appropriate level reading is more beneficial than struggling with difficult texts. Your level will naturally increase with practice. I lose motivation quickly. Solution: choose topics that genuinely interest you. Set small, achievable goals. Join reading challenges or groups for accountability. Let me share some inspiring stories from English learners who transformed their language skills through reading. Maria from Brazil started reading English romance novels because she loved the genre in Portuguese. Initially, she understood maybe 60% of each book, but she was so interested in the stories that she kept reading. After 6 months, she noticed she was thinking in English during the day. After a year, her IELTS score improved from 5.5 to 7.5, largely due to her expanded vocabulary and natural grammar sense. Ahmed from Egypt began reading English news articles for 20 minutes every morning. He chose topics he already knew about in Arabic, which helped him understand new English vocabulary. Within 8 months, he was confident enough to participate in English business meetings at work. His colleagues noticed his improvement and promoted him to an international role. Lin from China discovered graphic novels in English. The combination of pictures and text helped her understand context and made reading enjoyable rather than stressful. She progressed from simple comics to complex graphic novels and eventually to regular novels. Her reading speed increased dramatically, and she scored 115 on the TOEFL test. Carlos from Mexico read English football blogs and sports news because he was passionate about soccer. This specialized reading helped him build sports vocabulary and understand informal, conversational English. He eventually became confident enough to join English-speaking fantasy football leagues and made friends from around the world. These learners succeeded because they chose materials they enjoyed and read consistently. They didn't worry about understanding everything perfectly, and they trusted the process. Research supports these individual success stories. Studies show that students who read extensively in English typically score 20 to 30% higher on standardized tests compared to students who only use traditional learning methods. Now let's create your personal reading action plan. This isn't just theory. This is your roadmap to English fluency through reading. Step 1. Assess your current level honestly. If you struggle with basic news articles, start with graded readers or children's books. If you can handle news articles but struggle with novels, try young adult fiction. Be honest with yourself. Starting at the right level is crucial for success. Step 2. Choose your first book or article series. Pick something you would enjoy in your native language. Don't choose something because you think you should read it. Enjoyment is the key to consistency. Step 3. Set a realistic daily goal. Start with 15 to 20 minutes per day for beginners, 20 to 30 minutes for intermediate learners. You can always increase later, but starting small helps build the habit. Step 4. Create your reading environment. Choose a comfortable spot with good lighting. Eliminate distractions. Put your phone away. Have a notebook nearby for interesting words or phrases. Step 5. Establish your routine. Link reading to an existing habit. Maybe read during breakfast, lunch break, or before bed. Consistency is more important than duration. Step 6. Track your progress. Keep a simple log of what you read and for how long. Seeing your consistency builds motivation. Step 7. Join a community. Find online groups or local clubs where you can discuss what you're reading. This adds accountability and makes reading more social. Step 8. Be patient with yourself. Some days will be harder than others. Some texts will be more challenging. Trust the process and keep going. Remember, reading is a skill that improves with practice. Your first book might take months to finish, but your 10th book might take only days. Every page you read is progress. Every unknown word you encounter is an opportunity to grow. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've explored why reading is such a powerful tool for learning English, discovered the science behind it, and created a practical plan for success. Remember these key points. Reading gives you massive exposure to natural English. It builds vocabulary through context. It teaches grammar patterns naturally. It improves your thinking speed in English. Most importantly, it can be enjoyable and rewarding. Your English learning journey is unique to you. Maybe you'll fall in love with mystery novels, or perhaps science articles will capture your imagination. The important thing is to start reading something, anything, that interests you. Don't wait for the perfect book or the right time. Start today with whatever English text appeals to you. It might be a news article, a blog post, or the first chapter of a novel. Take that first step. Reading won't just improve your English, it will open doors to new worlds, new ideas, and new possibilities. Every book you read in English is a bridge to better communication, greater opportunities, and deeper understanding of the world around you. Your future English-speaking self is waiting for you on the other side of your next book. So what are you waiting for? Go find something interesting to read and let your English learning adventure begin. Thank you for joining me today on English Flow. Remember to subscribe to our podcast for more practical English lessons.